Hello, my name is Melanie Morford, and I will be discussing with you today the educational theorist Madeline Hunter. So, Madeline Hunter was born Madeline Cheek in Canada. She was born in 1916 and passed away in 1994. She was born to two uneducated parents. When she was 14, she became a naturalized citizen after moving to California. She married Robert Hunter in World War II time. The year wasn't exactly noted anywhere. One interesting fact about Madeline Hunter is that she really loved ballet. Madeline accomplished in her lifetime the theory called EDU506-MORFORD, which we're going to talk about today. And in fact, it is still used today. In her lifetime, she penned 12 books, 300 plus articles, and has 17 videotape collections. She was nicknamed the teacher's teacher. Her educational experience that led to this theory, there were three that were outstanding. When she was in junior high, she was given a job of an intelligence test scorer. She became really interested in human intelligence during this time, and that led her to her further education. She also had a poor experience. She was labeled as dumb in front of her class. And that coined her phrase, never put the kid down and always build the kid up. When she was 16, she started college at UCLA. She started studying a combination of pre-medicine and psychology, but into the studies, she noticed and recognized that she had limited hand-eye coordination, which influenced the choice of school psychology, which is where her educational theories came to play. In her mind, the job of a teacher equaled decision making. So what to teach, how to facilitate and escalate learning for the students, how will students learn, how will the teacher know what to talk about, and then she sorted out a process of what teachers can follow. So her theory, EDU5, is short for the instructional theory into practice. So she claimed that her teaching methods would transform classrooms into learning environments. She has 7 components for teaching, a 7-component instructional model, and lastly, 7 components of teaching and behavioral objectives. So the 7 components for teaching are 1, knowledge of human growth and development, content, classroom management, materials, planning, human relations, and instructional skills. Her 7-component instructional model starts with objectives, which tell the student what they should know by the end of the lesson. Standards, which inform the student about the instruction and what they will be receiving that day. Anticipatory set is like a hook, so it is baiting the kids and getting them excited for what they're going to talk about, and it gets their attention. Then number 4, teaching. So this is just literally input, so how the information is going to be provided. It's basic information for the students. Modeling is used to determine student understanding, and then checking for understanding is literally asking for feedback or using prior knowledge about the students and reading the room to gauge understanding. Guided practice and monitoring is teacher-led. The material is step-by-step, gauging understanding along the way. Closure is reviewing and organizing critical components of the lesson. So usually this is done in the last 10 minutes of class, and the teacher would say, okay, so today we've talked about A, B, and C. The most important things are D, E, and F. If there's any questions, I can take those now. Otherwise, we can write stuff down and bring it to class tomorrow, and we'll talk about it then. Independent practice is the last one here, number 7. and it's supposed to help the students retain information after initial instruction. So this is a worksheet, a homework assignment, an ed puzzle, a news ELA article, or just literally having them read through their notes. Think of 2 questions that they can bring to class tomorrow, those types of things. So the 7 components of teaching and behavioral objectives, this is pretty much what was on the previous slide. It just uses a little bit different terminology. So objectives, which is the same thing, set. And so instead of using the terminology anticipatory set, they call it a set or a hook. And everything else is pretty much the same. So Hunter's influence on education throughout her lifetime and currently it came out at the perfect time. She really released this, and it was pushed hard. A lot of school districts mandated their teachers to use this method. So it was a time of failing test scores, increasing dropout rates, discipline problems in the classroom. This model was used to reinforce positivity in the classroom, which in turn would reduce disruptive behavior. This gave structure to lesson plans, so it gave teachers a method to follow and direct instruction. So what is your anticipatory set today? What's your hook? How are you going to get the kiddos involved in your lesson today? And this method also increased effectiveness assessments by administrators. So when you are a formal teacher and you have your formal evaluation, a lot of the objectives or the key components of that are your students engaged? Did you have a hook? What was your objective? What standard are you teaching today? And so this model really allowed administrators to just check their list off, but also gave the teachers an idea of what was to be expected of them. So this model was used for a very long time. And I actually have had my first formal evaluation already. And some of the feedback that I got from my administrator was my engagement was awesome. I had a great hook. The only thing I really need to work on is closure activities. And so that's something that I'm still not great at. I'm not really sure how to bring it all together because I feel like we spend so much time talking and going over vocabulary and giving instruction. I guess maybe not all of you have read my forum posts before. I currently teach at Washington here in Sioux Falls. I teach sheltered biology class, which is all ELL students, so English language learners. I have 91 students total, and most of them have been in the United States education system for no more than 5 years. The reading levels range from 1st grade to 8th grade, and it's not classroom set that this is my 1st grade level, this is my 8th grade level. They're all mixed. So by using this Hunter's method on my lesson planning has been very helpful. So I've made my own lesson plan sheet that I use to know what standard I'm going to be talking about, what my objective is going to be, what materials I need, how are my students going to be self-directed or independent, or how are they going to be involved in the lesson? How am I going to assess their learning? Do I have a bell ringer or a hook? What is the topic? Are there vocabulary words we need to talk about? I did add a wrap-up section after my formal eval to try to practice using that closure piece of this Hunter method. And then lastly, every day I try to reflect. So what worked well? What can I do better? And so by doing this project, actually, I've been able to learn a lot more about the Hunter method and any criticisms of the theory that I can currently use or use in the future. So I have alternative certification through the state of South Dakota while I'm working on my master's in education from USF. So criticisms of the Hunter theory. So the theory and the steps don't technically give you time to give immediate feedback or coaching. So that's something that you have to really work on to get the students going in the classroom and giving that immediate feedback. So answering questions, asking, having the students involved, maybe at the board or the smart board, or playing games or something like that. This theory was coined the final answer, but it just isn't the case. Behavioral problems can't always be solved by having a plan, and you're supposed to be able to predict outcomes with this theory, but kids are kids, and let's face it, like, you think it's going to happen one way and they just totally prove you wrong, and stuff happens that you had no idea was coming at you that day. And the last thing on here is stimulating research. So there's literally nothing else with the theory besides those 7 steps. Like, this is what you're supposed to follow. And so it doesn't really give you any wiggle room, which is what I've been reading. So it's quite interesting. This model is very great. And like I said, I try to use this in my classroom right now. I'm looking forward to reading and following along with other presentations so I can be more open to using other processes in the classroom. So thank you for watching. I suppose I should show you my references here too. So these are my references. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the semester, and good luck with your education.